You know, Mungi, when I see a question like this, if I try to explain what is the question saying, it might be difficult for you to understand. But now, what I need you to do is to apply what you already know, what we've discussed. You understand how to find the sum. So now, you're going to take this step by step. Now, let's apply what we did. You'll see everything will make sense as we move. First thing first, we know what we have to do. Let's work with the, what can we call this? The left-hand side first. You understand? The left-hand side, I see a sigma notation. So I think it's best if we rewrite our equation down here and say we are looking for the sum of n where k is equals to 1 for what? For 3k minus 2 less than 2000. So now, what we talked about the steps. Step number 1 is to find our 4 terms of the sequence. So we start where? We start at k is equals to 1. So if I start at k is equals to 1, I'll get my t1. Meaning that where there's k, we're going to put what? 1. So this will be 3 into 1 minus 2. You just punch that on the calculator, you get 1. So far, so good. We are looking for k is equals to 2, which will give us our term number 2, meaning that where there's k, we put 2, we minus 2, punch it on the calculator, you get 4. You do the same if k is equals to 3. This will give us term number 3, meaning that where there's k, we put 3. 3 times 3 is 9, minus 2, that will give us 7. So let's try and find the last term. If k is 4, let's do this. This will give us t4. Where there's k, we put 4. Punch it on the calculator, get 10. So now, Mungi, we have our sequence, which is 1, 4, 7, and 10. What is step number 2? What is step number 2? Do you still remember what is step number 2? What is the next step, Mungi? Should we test the series or should we find n? What is the next step? Finding n or checking the series? Come on, Mungi. Mungi, are you still with me? Come on, Mungi. Why didn't you tell me that I'm on mute? I've been talking to myself all this time.
I thought you did it on purpose.
No. No. Because now I'm asking you a question and no answer. I've been asking you, like, after finding the 4 terms, what is the next step? And then I don't get a response from you because I'm on the other side. I can't see what is going on our session. But now, I think step 1, you understand what is going on step 1. First thing first, we take this. What do we do from this? We're going to find term number 1, term number 2, number 3, and number 4. I think from here you understand what happened, right?
Yes.
So now I was trying to ask you, what is the next step from here? What can we do next?
N is equal to t minus bottom, top minus bottom plus 1.
And that's my learner. Very good. You understand? Yeah, nice. N is equals to the top. We minus the bottom. I'm very proud, ne? Top minus the bottom, then we're going to add 1. So now, we are looking for n. If we can go back, the top is n, the bottom is 1. So it's going to be n is equal to top, which is n, minus the bottom is 1. We add 1. So 1 minus 1 is 1. Therefore, n is just n. So now, n is just n. We have to go and check the series. The series is 1, 4, 7, and 10. So it's going to be the series, which is step number 3. So the series is 1, 4, 7, 10, and so on. So from this series, we have the value of A as 1. We have the value of A as 1. So now we can see that the difference here is 3. The difference here is also 3. The difference is 3. So we have the common difference of what? Of 3. Because of D, we're going to conclude and say this is arithmetic. Arithmetic series. Are you still with me on that? Nice. So now that this is an arithmetic series, remember, we said that the sum, we are looking for the sum where k is equal to 1, the sum of n terms where k is equal to 1 of 3k minus 2, where this is less than what? Less than 2000. So now remember, what is this guy? The sum is Sn. So we are looking for where it's Sn. We know that this guy here is Sn, where it's Sn less than what? 2000. So now this tells you that if this is an arithmetic, what is Sn equals to? It's equal to n over 2. Inside the bracket, we have 2a plus n minus 1 times d less than 2000. So, first thing first, we need to check, we need the sequence. Why do we need the sequence? To check the type of the series. Is this arithmetic or geometric? Then step number 2, we need n so that we can see that on the equation where there's n, what should we put? So where there's n, we put n. But let's say that our n was maybe n plus something. So where there's n, we were going to put n plus that something. But now in this case, n is just n. So we're going to leave n as n and substitute the information that we have, a and d. So if we do that, we're going to have n over 2 into the value of a. What is the value of a? It's 1 plus n minus 1. The value of d is 3 less than 2000. All we have to do is to remove the bracket. So let's work the bracket first. Inside the bracket, I'll just have 2 plus if we do this, it's going to be 2 plus multiply out the bracket with 3. This is what we'll have. This is less than 2000. You just have to apply the, what is this? You just have to apply the algebra that you know when you're working with this type of questions. So now from this, we need to get rid of this 2, then multiply out the bracket with the 2. But I don't want to multiply the bracket with the fraction. I can just multiply this side by 2. Multiply that 2000 by 2 because the 2 will cancel. I'll be left with n into what? N into 3n. Let's add the like terms. 2 and minus 3 will give us minus 1. So this will be less than 4000. So from there I can multiply out the bracket with n. What I have now is 3n squared minus n. Let's take the 4000 to the other side to be negative. 4000 is less than 0. What do we have? An inequality. But it won't be easy for us to factorize this. Remember, we are looking for n. It won't be easy for us to factorize this type of problem. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to introduce what? A quadratic formula. I'm going to introduce a quadratic formula because I need to use the quadratic formula where it says that n is equal to, remember we are solving for n. N will be equal to minus b plus or minus the root of what? B squared minus 4ac, everything divided by 2a. So from there you just have to substitute. You know what is the value of a? Is 3. From the equation, the value of b will be minus 1. The value of c will be what? Negative 4000. You just have to take these guys, put them on the equation and say n is equal to minus into minus 1 plus or minus the square root of what? B. We said b is minus 1, which is squared minus 4 into a and into c. Make sure you do the correct substitution. So when you put this on the quadratic equation, divide by 2 into a, which is 3. So you just have to punch that on the equation. You'll get that your n is what? 36.68, or you'll find that your n is negative 36.35. So what you're going to do from here, remember, this is an inequality. These are your critical values. These are your critical values. You just apply what you know when you work with inequalities. So these are your critical values. What you're going to do, you're going to take the minus 36.35, put it on the number line, and then we're going to put the 36.68. So we're going to draw a number line here. This is the point. This is another point. It's positive, so it will be concave up. It's fine. So now what you're going to do from this point, Mungi, we're going to finish this problem now. What we're going to do, we can choose any number between this, but because it's a negative and a positive, I always like to choose 0. So if I choose 0, you'll go back to this equation where there's n, put that 0 here, which will give us what? It will give us 3 into 0 squared minus 0 minus 4,000. The answer is what? Negative 4,000. We're not interested in this 4,000, but we need the sign. You take that sign, which is negative. So this tells us that our solution, let's put this like this. Our solution between these two numbers, it is negative. So if this, the between part is negative, the other side will be positive. But now remember, what are we looking for? We are looking for where the solution is negative. It's negative between these two numbers. So if it's negative between, therefore, we can conclude and say n must be from this point going that side, and from this point going that side. So n, you take this arrow, you bring it down. So n must be less than, then you write that critical value of 36.68. You do the same, you take this arrow, you bring it down. N must be less than, or n, what am I saying? If we do it like this, we're going to say n must be greater. So it will look in that other side. Then this will be negative 36.35. So this is the value of n. But if you go back to the question, I know this is very long. If you go back to the question said, find the greatest value for which the greatest value we need. Remember, the greatest value, this is our boundary. So we know that n must be between this inequality. But from this inequality, we need to choose which one is the greatest. Which one is the biggest one? So now we know that the biggest one is 36. But we won't take it with decimal. Remember, n is a whole number. Therefore, we can conclude and say the greatest value of n is 36. I'm not sure. Are you happy with how we solve this problem?
Can we do another example?
We're going to do more examples, but I think that from this problem, you know how to work with this from up to this step, right? Then this is where we come and introduce the sum. This is where we introduce the sum. We say that, remember this whole thing, it means the sum is the sum. So now if we substitute that with Sn, we know the formula for that. Because it's an arithmetic, you use that formula. You say that formula should be less than 2000. Why? Because we are trying to bring n to the party so that we can solve for that n. Then here what we did on this step is to get rid of the fraction by multiplying both sides by 2. This is easy, but I'll send you this problem to go through the problem. I'll send you the problem. We also introduce the quadratic formula, but don't worry. I'll send you the problem so that you can go through the problem.